It's no surprise that every anime series wants to be the next big thing, but no genre is more cutthroat about this than the isekai genre. A genre that is pretty much well known for just everybody copying off of each other because, hey, if it worked for that series, maybe it'll work for my series. And what's funny about this is that the series that end up standing out and being popular are the ones that break the mold. They do something different in the genre and they create a unique and interesting story that then everybody else will just copy. Which is why it's so shocking to me that we have a series like The Rising of the Shield Hero, a show that was doing everything right in terms of breaking the mold. It stood out, it hit hard, it gained a really big fan base really quickly, and it felt like the genre was going to shift to more stories like it. But somewhere along the way, something went wrong, and that's what I want to talk about, because this series did start off very strong. The first episode subverts your expectations. At first, it seems like a basic isekai. Four dudes are summoned to a world. They're told by the king that there's this calamity called the waves that is causing them some issues, and they've been summoned to use special weapons to save the world. Sounds like the typical white bread of isekai, but our main character Naofumi is running into some problems. It's kind of subtle at first. First, the king is kind of ignoring him, and then the other dudes are kind of trash-talking his shield, telling him that it's the weakest class from their world's video games. And at first, it's kind of played off as a comedy because Naofumi is creaming his pants at the opportunity of going on an adventure. So you, the viewer, really don't think anything of it. Again, this is something that we see in isekai all the time. The main character is being overly excited and a little bit autistic, and the other characters around him are kind of grounding him to the actual situation that he's in. And then the next day, no one wants to join his party because he's the weakest one out of the four heroes, and you're going, okay, yep, everybody thinks he's gonna be the weakest one out of the four heroes, and it's actually gonna turn out that the shield has some secret overpowered ability, and here comes the beautiful lady that's probably the love interest, and she's going, I believe in him, so I'll join his party. So yeah, this is just your classic basic isekai, but right before you're about to click off, before you're just like, yep, this is boring, he goes against balloon monsters that are like balloons, and he can't pop them. Balloons are the most poppable things in the world, so you already know that he's struggling slightly. But okay, understandably, if him having difficulty against balloon monsters doesn't really hook you, that companion of his seems to be manipulating him. Basically, it looks like she's just trying to steal his money, but it is so much worse than that. She ends up accusing him of sexually assaulting him, which leads to everybody in the kingdom turning on him. The other heroes now hate him. The king takes away every single privilege that he was going to have as one of the heroes, and Naofumi is now left with nothing. He has no power, he has no friends or companions, he has no money, and he has no resources. The title has a completely different meaning now. This isn't a story about a hero that's gonna rise up and save the world, but rather it's a story about someone who's lost everything and is trying to rebuild their life as best as they can. And this trope was nothing new around the time that this series came out. Main character getting betrayed by somebody and they come back and they're way more overpowered than they were. But Shield Hero was kind of doing it a little bit differently. Yes, these series bank on one simple thing, the ancient technique of rage baiting. And Shield Hero does a fantastic job at rage baiting you. They make you really hate these characters, be it them being very cartoonishly evil and just constantly just getting in the way of Naofumi simply for the love of the game. I mean, legitimately, the king just hates Naofumi because he had beef with a previous Shield Hero, and his daughter Malty just hates him because she's spoiled, I guess. Or you have to deal with the other three incompetent idiots because they can literally be shown evidence that Naofumi is innocent, and they'll go, I don't know, man. This feels like a trick. I think you're trying to brainwash me or something. So, yeah, I just really don't believe you. The series successfully rage baits you and makes you want to watch it because you want to see all of these people that the series generally makes you hate get what's coming to them. But what it does differently than the other series at the time was it actually let Naofumi be traumatized. The other series following this trope would kind of make the character get over being betrayed kind of quickly, and now they're back and having fun on a nice, cool, easy adventure. Meanwhile, Naofumi's over here just depressed. Oh man, he does not look like he's doing well. The entire story feels a lot darker, which is something completely different what we were used to compared to other isekais at the time. The story was really well written. Don't get me wrong, the waves were kind of still a threat. They still deal with it time to time, but that wasn't the main focus anymore. The main focus was Naofumi's redemption. Him stumbling upon Raphtalia, the actual secondary protagonist of the series, and how together through their relationship, the two of them would heal each other. And all of this drew people in more, even though there were some issues with the story, like at some point they just fight the Pope for some reason. I guess because he just hates the heroes. And Raphtalia started off as a slave that Naofumi bought because he thought that the only person he could get to work with him was going to be a slave and he was going to boss her around before he had a change of heart. That's a little controversial, sure, but I mean, the series is darker, so, you know, it's going to cover some darker tones. Can't be too mad at that. Okay, and then he's getting another slave that turns into a lolly and it's falling in love with him. Oh, dude, how are you going to explain this to the judge? Despite all its flaws, it was still a pretty good series. But all of this was a lie. It was a trick. All of this kind of lures you in and you're enjoying it. Yeah, yippee. But then season 1 starts to wrap up and it actually wraps up pretty much every conflict that the series kind of had at this point. Naofumi clears his name. He gets revenge on the king and Malty, even though it's not really that satisfying. He basically just kind of gives them a slap on the wrist when they were actually going to get executed for their crimes, but instead he just decides that he's just going to change their names to Trash and Bitch and then just let them go. I'm sure that won't come back to bite him in the butt later. Naofumi's trauma is pretty much gone thanks to the power of friendship. This kind of leaves only one thing left to do, which is, oh yeah, the wave thing that we kind of neglected because of the king and Malty framing Naofumi for crimes he didn't commit thing. Yeah, we should probably get back to that. Anyways, what is going on with that Tortle? What? Tortle. Huh? Big Tortle. Yeah, at this point, the story really takes a nosedive. They just start throwing information at you, and you're just expected to also remember characters that appeared for like 2.3 seconds in the last season. And there's a lot of exposition, and the pacing is just bad. According to my online sources, this is apparently due to the fact that a chunk of the story from the manga and the light novels are just gone. They don't exist in the anime for whatever reason. And this stuff explained a lot. And that's why it feels like certain characters just appear for no reason. It also starts to get very stale because Naofumi is just at this point just doing everything and using one ability over and over and over again, which kind of corrupts him, but through the power of friendship, he stops. And he does this every single time there's a major battle, and it just gets really stale. Season 2 is just a really big mess, but Season 3 can't be that bad, right? Right? Yeah, no, it suffers a lot of the same issues. It's slightly better than Season 2. I won't lie, it's slightly better. But yeah, Malty comes back as an antagonist, tricking the other two heroes. For some reason, I don't know why they listened to her after what they went through in Season 1 with her, but that's okay, I guess. That's their decision, they're big boys, even though they're slightly incompetent, and by slightly, I mean extremely. It's just very clear at this point for everyone that has kind of been watching that anything that is happening with the waves and the other heroes just isn't going to be as interesting as what was happening with Naofumi and his redemption and his revenge, and like, it's understandable. That part of the story is over, we have to move on, but this is just kind of boring to watch. Every conflict that Naofumi had to deal with is just kind of gone. Naofumi used to feel like a folk hero where he had to actually save people in other ways, be it through small acts like making medicine and making sure that certain areas were cleared, or when during the waves, he, instead of helping fight the big monster, he was actually making sure that civilians were being saved. And all of that conflict is kind of gone now. Mostly everyone loves Naofumi now after he's cleared his name, other than the three heroes, which I don't think it was a good idea to make them this incompetent, simply off of the fact that there being three other people in the world that were as powerful as Naofumi kind of didn't make Naofumi as special. But now it just feels like Naofumi is doing everything because these three idiots can't do anything by themselves. It just feels as the series has gone on and on and on, it has slowly just become like any other isekai. And the problem with this is then, to stand out, you need to do two things. One, have good animation, which the Shield Hero has sometimes, not all the time, or it needs to have compelling characters, which it can't do because of the pacing. It doesn't focus on the characters long enough for them to have any sort of character development, and the fact that they introduce a new character almost every episode doesn't help. But season 4 is here, and it might be the season that saves the rising of the shield hero, but only time will tell. Currently, as recording this, there are 5 episodes out, and I have watched all of them. And I mean, so far the pacing seems a lot better. The animation in some parts is still a bit iffy. So far in some of the fight scenes that we have, the animation seems actually pretty good, so I can't complain there. And so far, the story actually seems really interesting. The people of Siltfeld seem to worship Naofumi, but there seems to be a darker plot underneath the surface. The question is it going to remain interesting? But I mean, I feel like I can't really judge an entire season off of 5 episodes, so I guess only time will tell if the Rising of the Shield Hero really does just fall into complete obscurity. What do you guys think? Do you think the Shield Hero is going to fall off completely? Do you guys like season 4 so far? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button as well. It really helps push the video out. And if you're new around here, watch my other videos and maybe even hit that subscribe button. All right, I will catch you guys later.